Our guest today on the Motivation Show was the first ever winner of Finding Mr. Christmas, aired on Hallmark Plus, which was Hallmark's first ever reality competition show. His prize was to land a co-starring role in the 2024 Hallmark Christmas movie titled Happy Holidays. He is a fitness professional, model, and former U.S. Navy rescue swimmer. Let's get into this. Welcome to the Motivation Show, EZRA MORELAND.
Eli, thanks for having me, and I appreciate that intro. That got me going.
Well, I'm pumped up because, here you are, a U.S. Navy rescue swimmer. You've swam, I think, probably more in one day than I probably have in my entire life. So if that doesn't motivate me, I don't know what will.
That's hilarious. I love it though. Love it.
Yeah.
All
So
about being motivated. And that's why I'm thankful to be here because I have a good feeling about getting to talk with you. There's going to be a lot of motivation flowing.
absolutely, no question about it. So tell me about how you grew up there in this place called Wichita, Kansas.
Well, anytime I think back to my childhood, I'm absolutely overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude and feeling just lucky and blessed because I was raised with my three brothers and three sisters, and I feel like it was a dream childhood. And I love picking my parents' brains. And when you hear back how they did it, it wasn't all grand and perfect for them because they were dealing with everything and had all the responsibility. But I feel so blessed because I just remember always being a home full of love and learning all the things that have like carried through in life that I keep to this day from my parents. So I'm super lucky, and that's what I always think when I think back to growing up in Wichita. But it was a lot of fun. It's like the perfect size city, I feel like. It's not too big, not too small. Most people hear Kansas and they think I was raised on a farm, which also probably would have been fun.
I
But
just
no,
think of Glenn Campbell's song, Wichita Lineman.
there you go. Yeah. But no, it was a blessing. Played a lot of sports with four boys in the house. It was always 2-on-2, super competitive. And don't get me wrong, my sisters are, I think, even more so competitive because they join in on the games and everything. But it was a blast and a blessing in every way.
And so, what was it actually like being a Navy swimmer, and what kind of rescues did you do?
So in the Navy, there's two types of rescue swimmer. You're either flying in a MH-60 Romeo aircraft, which is a helicopter, or a MH-60 Sierra, which is a different helicopter. And I signed up to be a rescue swimmer because I swam my whole life, knew I wanted to do something competitive and adventurous. But what's so cool is you come to find out being a rescue swimmer in the Navy is just a percentage of the job. So we'd fly around in the helicopter on missions all the time, running all sorts of systems like radar, tracking vessels out at sea. And there's a lot that goes into it. You're constantly studying and staying up with all these parameters and details and capabilities of all these systems, including rescue swimming, which is the physical part where you're jumping out of the aircraft into all types of different scenarios to affect saving someone's life. And there's so much teamwork that goes into it because not only do you have someone's life in your hands jumping in the water, but you also your life is in the crew chief's hands, which is the other rescue swimmer in that it stays in the helicopter, and you just have to work together. So there's a lot to it, but it was an adventure every day. I'll say that.
So, you are a master of many trades, and you've got the U.S. Navy rescue swimming, you've got the modeling, you fitness professional, you're acting, you really hit a home run last year with your acting. So what actually motivates and inspires you to get up every morning and do all these things?
That's such a well thought out question, Eli. I really appreciate that. And the first thing that comes to mind, this is actually hilarious because my biggest role model in life is my dad. I want to be just like him. And this is so funny. He said one time, and I take this as a compliment, he said I remind him of Forrest Gump because when you watch that movie, it's such an inspiring movie. He just does so many different things and just lets the past be the past. And I kept that with me. I took that as such a compliment because you're right. I have done a lot of different professions and truly feel like with what I've learned in the military and just my upbringing, I feel like I could do anything. Just committing to it, taking the right steps, being open to learning, and from taking advice from those who have gone there. There's so many beautiful, cool adventures in life, and I'm kind of just open to them all with one goal in mind. I want to just affect as many people in a positive way and give back to my family. And that is what has driven me on this kind of winding path of life so far. And it's just a beautiful thing. I'm so thankful for all the things that I've done and continue to hope to do.
Well, that's a beautiful answer. That's a great thing to have motivate you to have your family, in your mind. And most people are thinking about themselves, and that doesn't always sustain the motivation. But when you have something bigger, like your family in your mind, I can see where that'll get you out of bed in the morning to do what you need to do.
Oh,
Uh, yeah.
yeah.
So how do you actually spend most of your, day to day time, and what are your hobbies when you're not
Mm,
doing all these other professional things?
I think that's so interesting. Hobbies to me, it really is more just goes into like free time. I don't even consider it a hobby. To answer your question, the hobbies are to stay active, stay fit, stay healthy. I love to read and journal and just drink coffee and connect with people, especially loved ones and
You,
family.
you'll have fun in my living room because I've got like over 3,000 books. I'm like a book junkie. I'm the ultimate book
Goals.
geek. Yeah,
We're gonna have to have an
all
entire
nonfiction too, with about two
interesting.
novels thrown in there.
That might be the most cool, specific library detail I've ever heard, and that's goals. I'll probably have a little bit higher percentage of novels in mind in the future, but I feel like we could have a separate podcast just talking about books because that's a high. See, that's like I don't know if it's a hobby because that's how I enjoy my free time, but it's also work in a sense because
True,
nonfiction and fiction
true.
adds more to who I am and how I see the world. So that's almost goes into, and I think why I love this journey of becoming an actor is it's really a 24/7 job. Just like being a model, my hobbies all add to my preparedness for future opportunities. It's going on a long walk or hitting the gym or even FaceTiming my family or taking a trip to spend time with them. I feel like that is all ingrained in proper prior preparation, which is also a Navy saying that was ingrained in us in rescue swimmer school. Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
And all I
So I
can
feel
say
like
is Peter Piper picked up a peck of,
pickle peppers.
yeah, there you go.
That is hilarious. But no, you got it. So my hobbies are just work at the same time, but I don't feel like I even work. The whole trick of this profession, which I'm so thankful since the military, I started working as a model, and you just kind of get used to being ready for everything and maybe working a couple months, maybe more, maybe less. And I feel like every day being prepared for that is a hobby. And then it's so cool because when I finally get to work and be on set, it's a celebration, even though that's the work. I'm just so happy in those moments to be working and connecting with new people, getting to do a project I've never done before. And even that feels like a hobby. So it's interesting. I'm not trying to complicate the question.
No, I love your answer because I've never heard anybody express it quite that way, that the hobby itself is a actual, prelude to the actual work, and it
Mhm.
actually enhances the work that you do.
And then the
That's very
work is
cool.
just a
Yeah.
celebration and it's fun.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I really enjoy that answer. So, when did you actually decide to become an actor, which I've always looked at like a long shot kind of thing, right?
Mm,
Because most people who are actors are kind of waiters, waiting until that break that
true.
in most cases never come. But apparently you got your break and you made the break happen, it didn't just fall into your lap. So what was this? Was there an aha moment that kind of like said, okay, I want to now be an actor?
So that's such a great question because you're right. Most actors that I know, and also the ones that you see in interviews, like the world's top most famous actors, they all kind of have that aha moment of I want to be an actor. And it's a groundbreaking realization story. And my aha moment is different because I have the main goal of wanting to affect as many people as possible in a positive and loving way and just shining the light up that vulnerability is cool and giving back to all the gifts that I've received. And that goes into family as well. And it's just turned out that keeping that as my compass, it led me straight into acting. And I feel like this is a vessel where that is going to help accomplish my goal. And it just so happens that I have like a never ending passion for it. The work and commitment and kind of just making peace with being told no and that becoming an automatic realization of, oh, it's not a no, it's just a not yet. If it's not one job, it's, and that I have a very deep faith in life in general. So when something doesn't happen, you can be thankful and excited about it. So there's really no losses.
I love what you say about making peace with no. You just hit the real secret. You can write a book about that right there, making peace with no, because that's the actual answer for how you become successful in selling, and there's
Mm,
almost everybody sells in some way or another, something, and if you can just make peace with that no, you're going to be a very persistent person,
mm.
and persistence is really, I think, the key to becoming successful in almost anything because particularly if you're an actor, you're going to get used to hearing no like all the time, and some
Oh
people
yeah.
quit. They can't handle that. They
Hmm.
get devastated, they get down, they get depressed, they start eating the wrong foods.
Yeah.
But if you can
And you
make
find that
peace,
self comfort after the disappointment.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly, because you feel like you got to have that instant comfort in that
Mm,
beautiful ice cream sundae. But and then you start feeling guilty after you eat it, right? It's like, why did I do that? So it's a but I love that if you can make peace with it, you're not going to fall into that trap. And so, what is it? Most actors, in my view, I think they go into acting for vanity, to be loved.
mm,
Say, hey, look at me, it's ego trip. What is what is your reason, and what do you get most out of acting? Why are you in this profession besides what you covered before?
mm. Well, I have to attribute so much to my upbringing and Navy background because I'm pretty easily satisfied and content. Being in stressful, uncomfortable scenarios, it doesn't take much for me to be completely happy and just stoked. That being said, I don't need much in life when it comes to materialistic things. Of course, I want a beautiful veranda garden overlooking Central Park someday. That's like a flat, like penthouse. That'd be fun. That'd be
Nothing
beautiful
that
views,
nothing that $10 million won't get you.
at least, right? But the self satisfaction that I've found so far is just the amount of people that I have gotten feedback from that they were affected in a positive way. Because everybody is kind of the same. Everybody's doing the best they can, and there's everybody has up moments and down moments. And I have gotten to connect with a lot of people where they're just looking for that little boost of motivation, which is why I'm so thankful for us to be talking today because this is just so cool that we know that just whoever listens to this is going to maybe have that little bit of extra self-confidence kick in where they look back at everything they've accomplished and realize where they are now. Everybody's doing the best they can. So what I get out of the becoming an actor and all the results of making a movie and getting to work with Hallmark, which is so just me, like a full circle moment that I could never even have hoped or planned for. It's really just seeing how many people that I've got to connect with and hear back from that they were affected in a positive way. And wanting, that's me, that's fueling me to continue because that reach can just grow. And I want to just affect more people. And it's just fun. Another way to answer that question is it's so crazy challenging to act for me. And that has always been a guiding light for me. Whatever's scary, whatever's uncomfortable, whatever's challenging, that's the direction. And this career is so much that. It's so tricky and demanding. That's another reason why I just kind of know it's the right path.
I love that because, the harder it is, the more rewarding it is. Like I've done crazy things doing like over 30,000 cold calls in the mean streets of New York City. And people are like, why did you do that?
Well,
And
yeah, hold on. I was all taking a drink of water. I almost spat that out. 30,000 cold calls in New York City does sound scary.
it is pretty scary, but what's rewarding is the breakthrough. Of course,
Mm.
the punishment of all the no's. I didn't always handle it as well as you were talking about. With your theory, it was rough. But what was really rewarding is the breakthrough. The
Mm.
1 in 1,000. That you did get to break through on and make a difference. So that's what I, at the end of the day, focused on most.
Mm.
And if you can focus on the rewards at the end of the tunnel, the effort that you put in, pales in comparison to the glory of the permanence of what you're able to achieve, because there's a permanence in that. Pain is
Mm.
temporary, achievement is permanent. And so how did this
Wow.
all happen? How did you actually get this role in Finding Mr. Christmas? Take us through that.
That's such a beautiful hindsight being 2020 journey to look back on. Because in the moment, step by step, you have no idea what's going on. And huge shout out to a good friend of mine, Jonathan Bennett, started this Hallmark show. It's the first reality Hallmark show. And just when people hear that, everybody knows Hallmark, everybody knows reality show, but not in the same sentence. And it was just a search for the next Hallmark leading man. So he creates a show. I find out about it from a different entity through my modeling work. And that is how I crossed over into film. Went on the show, 10 guys compete in a competition series, and whoever's listening to this has to check it out if they haven't yet, because each week is a competition in a filmed acting scene, like something you would see in a Hallmark movie. It's either the meet cute or the breakup by the fire or the ice skating scene or the final kiss at the end of the movie. And the contestants on the show just compete to see who does a better job. And then somebody gets sent home every week. And then I ended up winning that. And goes back to why I love it, is because it was so challenging to get out of your own way on camera. Because I'd only done modeling before, and you have the same goal in mind as the team and the photographer and everybody, but when you're on camera and like with lines and you're actually acting, it's a whole different story. And that led to filming the starring role in Happy Holidays, which is step by step. I was just trying to be prepared and focus and do the best I could. And everybody that I talked to, because it was kept secret, was just saying this is the craziest thing they've ever heard. Nobody's has ever been known to be in a leading role with no acting experience, because there's so much that comes with it that I found out. And it's the most challenging thing I think I've ever done. So the Hallmark show, Finding Mr. Christmas, led to the movie. And now it's so cool because look in life in general, this whole zoomed out perspective it's really narrowed down to me knowing what I want to do, and it's aligning with my overall life goals. And it's just a huge blessing.
So Ezra, how confident were you that you would win the competition against nine other men? I mean, that puts you at like all things being equal, like 10 to 1 odds against you, you know? So what do you attribute your confidence to?
So it's interesting. If I thought about that, it would have hurt me because there's contestants on the show that one of my good friends now, Elijah, such an impressive, talented actor. He's been on Broadway and been in this life for so long. And there's all these other talented guys on the show that have all this experience. If I would have thought of that, the confidence would have went down. I didn't really think about winning it each week. I just wanted to survive. It kind of was like rescue swimmer school. You just want to make it through that challenge and not go home. And going into the show, I had that same goal. I know I want to affect people in a positive way. And if I can just be myself, that can happen. And I found out that it's not easy to be yourself when you're on camera. And I had to go through some walls that I had put up and break those down. It's just all about vulnerability. And I never really thought I would hope to win, but I never really thought about my chances. You just go step by step, and everybody wants you to shine. Something that the judges, Melissa Peterman and Jonathan Bennett, would always repeat is, I shine when you shine. And I let that just sink in. And then it became not so much as a competition, but really just wanting the best for the other guys too. And then the results were just the results.
You talked about your father being kind of like a role model for you. Was there somebody else that helped you get to where you are today?
Absolutely. I mean, parents are always such a big deal. So it's like cliche to say my mom, but my my dad is my role model, and my mom is how I've gotten to where I am. All the things that she ingrained in us kids growing up, they would kind of make sense, but they never really hit true until I matured. Something she would always say is, what you see in others is what you see in yourself. And I grew up saying that, but it never made sense until I finally got to the point in my adulthood of realizing the truth in that. And I feel like all the things that she instilled in me is why I see the world the way I do and why I'm so positive and not really, I'm just free in the sense of not needing to have any certain physical accomplishments by any certain time. And I feel like that's a freedom I've gotten from my mom's wisdom. And all my siblings have it too. And I'm just so blessed. That's why I want to give back to family and just people around me, because it's a gift that I know how happy I am. I want other people to be happy too. And everybody deserves joy and enthusiasm and positivity and confidence. So my
Amen.
mom, for sure. And my best friend, my grandma Shirley. There's certain
Great.
times of life that I've listened to her and she always gives the best advice. Don't be in a rush, listen to your heart, and just go on adventures. And I'll call her, and our thing is just to have a cup of coffee, no matter how late in the evening it is. We'll just get on the phone and chat, or whenever I'm visiting, I'll just get to sit with my grandma Shirley. And all the stressors, because everybody's human, you have the things that come to mind that kind of freak you out, put pressure on. But anytime speaking with her, that just goes away. And I realize what remains, and it's what's true. And it is just love.
It's a great story. And if everybody listened to their grandma, it'd be a lot less problems in this world. I
Right?
can tell you
I
that.
used to be young and I used to not listen. And
Yeah.
now I realize, listen, and you
We
will be
were all
benefited.
defiant when we were young, you know? We were
Yeah.
all wise guys,
I
right?
just used to not know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So what do you feel is the best thing to happen to you as a result of winning the competition?
It's easy. That's the easy answer for me. I don't want it to sound all wise or anything, but it's by far the depth I've gained within myself to realize what I'm capable of. through a challenging scenario. And I always want to be open to more of that. And just, I don't want to, I could answer the last question of who's helped me get to where I am today, because that list goes on forever. I could answer that question forever. I just want to be a dry sponge when I'm around anybody, because there's so much to learn from every single individual, no matter what they've accomplished, because success looks different to everybody. And somebody with a family that's their version of success, and they don't need to have all this money. I learned so much from somebody like that. What it's just, I don't know. I have so many people to thank. I've learned so many things from so many people, and without any of those individuals, I wouldn't be where I am today.
So Ezra, why do
Especially my
you?
siblings.
Yeah,
They, my siblings are amazing, and I'm a small part of each of them. Like I'm a person in life that kind of just gets my self satisfaction from bringing people together, and me bringing myself to the people I love. I take a part of them with me, and that's just who I am.
and why do you think you won the competition? You know, why were you the chosen one? What did you think that you might have done differently than the other contestants?
Well, I'm not a judge. I'm not one of the big Hallmark people, so I'd have to ask them. But I am, it's so interesting. I'm so happy the effect the show had. And I've heard from a lot of fans of who they think should have won, whether it's me or somebody else. And I think already that's so beautiful that it's having just a positive effect, because that show just brought people together. And that was one of the most rewarding things I heard, that family was getting together over the holidays when before they weren't so much. Now, why I think I won, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just thankful. And I also would have been happy if the other contestants would have won. The guys I was head to head with at the end, they're so impressive. I know they would have done an amazing job filming the movie, and they'll have long, successful careers, as I hope to myself. But yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure. Check out the show and see if you can let me know.
What was your favorite challenge in this show? And tell us about that challenge.
That's tough because each one was so different and geniusly constructed by the producers and Jonathan, because they all had a twist. And by the end, you're just kind of learning to expect the twist. And each one was so fun and brought a different challenge to me. But I think the most fun and my favorite was the most challenging, because it's like a breakup scene, kind of when I'm confessing my love around the campfire to the girl in the movie where you're trying to win her back, but you messed up. And leading up to that challenge, we're all reading the script, and it says the character breaks down into tears. And everybody goes, "Oh, no way, it's that? We're doing that?" That's everybody's like biggest fear. Can I
That's a hard
cry
one.
on camera? And
Yeah.
I've never done that before.
Yeah.
What in the world? So that was such a
Talk
challenge.
about vulnerability, right? Having to cry on
Yes.
camera.
And that is why that's one of my favorite episodes, is because I end up completely breaking down in tears. And I learned so much through that episode. And I think that's why it's one of my favorites. Then you bring in the Dancing with the Stars episode. I'm learning to waltz and all these things. And it's such a Christmas magical set that they've built. That was a favorite. They were all so different, but those are probably my two top.
And so Happy Holidays was your first acting role. And what was that overall experience like?
It's like if you sky went skydiving into a tornado. It was so beautifully challenging, and it had a really good result. All the work, all the commitment, all the tough times and moments ended up having a really good result. The movie did well, my family loved it, and I was just happy. None of that would have happened if it wasn't. I have to have a huge shout out to Jessica Lowndes, who I starred alongside. She's my love interest in the movie. And you realize real quick that everybody on set, from the director to the assistants running around, all are on such a demanding schedule. Nobody has time to stop and ask, "Hey, are you doing okay?" Like, you're the star of the movie. You're supposed to know what's up, and I didn't. So the only person on that set that knew what I was going through was Jessica. And to do what you have to do to be a lead in a movie is so demanding that I don't know how she did her job and helped me with mine so much at the same time. The prep leading up to a scene, the notes that she would give me, we'd practice so much, and then we'd be rolling. She's like, "Oh no, we did it this way. Remember, you wanted to do it that way." And I'm like, I just know to listen to her because she's such a pro, and she's just so generous. I can see where most people wouldn't have the time to do what she did for me during filming. And there's dogs running around. We're like filming by a waterfall. There's all this impressive like equipment being used, and I'm just trying to not mess up. And a breakthrough happened, luckily, early in filming, where I kind of got out of my head, got out of my own way. I guess like you call it dropping in, and then you're just who and what you should be in the scene. And that was such a beautiful experience. But to get to that point, you just constantly have to break. No, it's actually not breaking through walls. It's allowing walls that you've built to dissolve to come back to who you are, to just be relaxed in a scene, filming a movie. It was an adventure, to answer your question. And I'm still learning from it, to be honest.
So, in closing the show, how do you feel about this newfound attention or fame or whatever you want to call it?
That is something that I don't know if anyone ever wraps their head around. And it's not like I walk out in the street and get recognized every single day. But even to the people that do, I don't think that you really can wrap your head around that. And I just like to be a person that's present in the moment. And if that ever does happen, or even on social media, if I hear from somebody, I just want to connect, be myself, and see the beauty in others, like my mom always said. And that continues to have a good result. Now, I might have a different perspective if there's like paparazzi waiting outside my home every day. That would be crazy and a little rough. So I don't know how people deal with that, but I haven't really noticed too much of a change in life other than getting to meet and connect with more people.
So, what does the future have in store for you, and how do people get in touch with you and find out what you're up to?
Well, when it comes to social media and for people to see what I'm up to, I'm most active on Instagram, and my name on there is just EZRA.Moreland. And I tell people feel free to reach out all the time. My main hobby really is health and fitness to stay prepared for whatever the future may hold. And if anybody asks questions in there, I do my best to respond. I do hear from a lot of people, so I don't get back to everybody, but if I see something comes up that I'm um, well versed in, I'm happy to help and offer any sort of guidance. Now, the future holds, I am fully committed and going to do my best to get just more roles in films. And I'm still getting to work as a model, which is
Forrest Gump, too.
there we go. Hey, I mean, sign me up. I do a pretty good Forrest Gump impression, not gonna lie. Tom Hanks. Better watch out. But yeah, that's just my life and goals lately is fully commit and delve more into becoming a talented actor because I feel like once you start that, it's like a black hole. It's never ending. You can't get to the point where you're just amazing all the time because it's all an inward journey. And that's something so cool. I look up to certain actors and say the same thing, and certain things are starting to make sense. That I'm just beginning to get into this whole journey of whatever this film world entails. And I'm just excited for every day and every step of the way.
Ezra Moreland, you are a treasure and a blessing, and I want to thank you for coming on our show today.
Eli, right back at you. I feel like I connect with certain types of people, and just getting to talk with you as long as we have, I feel like certain things just click and we see eye to eye with a lot of stuff and wanting the best for people and wanting the world to be a more beautiful place. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, brother.
This has been a blessing.
I'll see you in our next my next 10K race since you're into fitness.
Oh, there we go. Hey, all right, let's get training. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.